Pop quiz. Should bell bottoms come back in style?
No.
No.
Absolutely not. Nothing bigger than boot cut.
Nothing bigger than boot cut. What's your reasoning?
I just don't think it's flattering on anybody, but I'm really tall, so it's just a ton of fabric on me.
And you can trip over yourself with all that, additional fabric.
All right. Well, welcome to the Renew podcast presented by RentSpree. I'm Lauren Martin, Sales Director of the prop tech company RentSpree. This podcast is a featured offering of Renew, an initiative that aims to elevate female voices, share insight on how to navigate industry challenges, and showcase the remarkable achievements of women in real estate. I'm excited about the opportunity that RentSpree has afforded me and several of my colleagues to provide this much needed resource to women throughout the entire real estate industry. I'm extremely honored that on this podcast, I get to host meaningful conversations with some of the top female voices in real estate. This is our very first episode, and I'm so excited to be talking to Teresa King Kinney and Liz Sturrock of the MIAMI REALTORs. Teresa is the CEO of the Miami Association of Realtors, one of the leading realtor associations in the United States. Teresa has been at the forefront of leadership for 30 years this coming August. During her tenure with Miami, she has driven a membership increase from 5,000 members to over 55,000 to date. Joining with her today is Liz. She is the Chief of MLS and Innovation, also with the Miami Association of Realtors. We'll be discussing their professional real estate journeys, as well as the importance of female mentorship and empowerment within the real estate industry. Teresa and Liz, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to come on the Renew podcast. On a personal note, I really just want to thank you guys for coming today. I'm so excited to have you as the first podcast that Renew is going to do. I can't tell you how much you guys have inspired me in my career and how honored I've been to have you in my life for the last 5 years. So I'm just really excited for you guys to get to share your story and hear some of your insights. So my first question is for you both. Tell us about your journey to the top of the real estate leadership industry and what are your main keys to success?
Liz, why don't you start?
Sure. Well, first, congratulations, Lauren, and congratulations to RentSpree for launching this. I think it's an amazing initiative, and I love that you guys are doing it, and thank you for having us. I started my career in technology. So I started out with doing help desk and support, sales support and things like that. And I had an opportunity to join NAR through a friend, gracious, now 15 years ago. And, there's just no looking back. Once you're in, you never leave. So I started as kind of a project manager, director, and I had the opportunity to help build and launch Ramco. I grew it to the largest association management product in the country, and took over market share within 3 years. And from that, I became the VP of IT for all of NAR, running their $1.2 billion e-commerce system. I got there, I just kept raising my hand. Is there something I can help with? I raised my hand. I got to do a national bus tour, which is funny. They're doing it again now. So always step up. And that was the same thing. Teresa called me and asked if I knew somebody who could help her out. And I said, here's some really great names, but I raised my hand. And I was given the opportunity to do that all the way from Chicago. And here we are today, 4 years later.
That's awesome. I love that. I love just raise your hand, be heard, be present. There's so many opportunities available. And if we just take the time to say, hey, consider me, it goes a long way. So I love that. But I am curious, what's a national bus tour? That sounds like so much fun.
Oh, wow. So that was the first bus tour in 2011 was the NAR Homeownership Matters bus tour. And it was all about consumers getting involved in political advocacy. So we did stops, 40 something stops all over the country with a bus. And it was, right around the presidential campaign. So sometimes we'd be in the same spot. We did tornado relief. It's when the terrible tornadoes came through Alabama around Tuscaloosa. Steve Brown was there. We handed direct checks from the Relief Foundation to members and families whose homes were just, it was gone. There was nothing left. Just getting around to meet members where they are, where they live. I always believe you meet the members where they are, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, intellectually. You meet people where they are, and that's how you get them to where we should all go together.
I love that. That sounds like so much fun. I bet you got to see so many cool things too.
I met so many people on it. It was just wonderful, wonderful opportunity.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that they're doing it again too. That sounds like so much fun. Well, thank you, Liz. That was amazing. Teresa, how about from you? What are your keys to success?
Well, I think one of the top ones is learning more about communication. And so, when Liz talks about raise your hand, many years ago, someone asked me if I'd like to speak on stage at the Association Executives Conference. And I'd already done some speaking locally, but I said yes, and continued to say yes. And so actually public speaking is one of the top things that I recommend for anyone who wants to further their career, create new opportunities for themselves. And quite frankly, I was speaking at the NAR Leadership Conference in Hawaii in 1992 in front of the presidents and elects and association execs. One of the people who came up to me after the program said, I love what you said. Can I get a copy of the resource book that you handed out? Our executive is leaving after 35 years, and we really need to do the kind of things that you talked about. And as it turns out, that was the Miami chairman of the board.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And I said, well, keep me in mind. And he said, for what? I said, for the position. He said, really? So that went immediately to their headhunter, and I became one of a lot of people who applied for the position. But when you speak and speak effectively, as Liz does and as you do, it creates new opportunities for you, and it elevates who you are and what you do. We just came from a VIP broker event for about 90 of our largest brokers here in Miami, and the power of each of our executives speaking is just so impressive. And the joke here is, if you don't do public speaking now, you will soon. Because TK will call on you, and you never know when she's going to call on you. You just better be ready. So that's one of my top ones. The other one is listen. Sometimes it's difficult to stay focused, but we learn more from listening and figuring out how we can help people and our leaders and give them more alternatives. With the staff, the professionals, it's unusual, but we have, I think, 75 professionals on staff now. And they come up with the best ideas. Even the newest ones come up with the best ideas. And we just have to be focused enough to pay attention and take advantage of their ideas. And Liz knows we implement so many of those almost right on the spot. And so, it's listening, paying attention, doing as Liz says, raise your hand, public speaking, all of that is just really, really important to do. And I met Liz because she was convincing us to do Ramco. So we are the largest local realtor association in the United States, second largest in the world. And I said, are you sure you're ready? And so, to take on Ramco is ready to take on Miami. And so she came and helped us out a lot. And I saw the talent that was there. So when she said, consider me, that was, an automatic to actually be able to do that.
And I think it goes so far too, because I have to say, when I started in my career, I remember the exact moment I came into your office with Leo Pareja. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but you had a big board meeting and I was just there to learn, right? I was next to Leo, and it was actually you, Teresa, that said, well, Lauren, what do you think? And I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to say what I thought by any means, but you put me on the spot, and I'm grateful for it because it really made me realize that at all points you have to be ready to talk and you have to be ready to give your ideas, and it makes a difference. It wasn't long after that I flew down and I did trainings, and you guys, I was so nervous. I hadn't like done anything like that before. And I was like, oh, well, hopefully only like 5 people will show up. It was like 75 people in that room, and I was so scared. And Leo and Ariana were there, and they're like, it's okay, you've got it, you can do it. And, after that, it was a breeze. And you just have to, like you said, get to that point where you do it, because at some point you will. And once the first time is over, it's really a skill that you'll carry with you for the rest of forever. So I love that. But also being an active listener, you guys have a very talented group of people over there. And you can tell from the marketing team, the training team, you guys really do take ideas and creativity from all aspects from within. So that's amazing to hear. And I think you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
But that leads me to my second question. So Teresa, with 30 years almost at the Miami Association of Realtors, what do you think has changed the most in the MLS organization throughout your time there?
Well, besides technology, obviously, the biggest changes that I can see is that the brokers and agents are much more involved and engaged in the MLS and in what we do, and in providing suggestions and very active participation in the MLS. The other thing is that Miami offers almost 200 products and services, most of them included in their MLS fees or their board dues. And so the MLS is not what it used to be, which is just a database and resource of the properties. Now we have all of these programs and services that we tie into the MLS, so that everything that they want is just one click away, auto-populates with the property that they were looking at. And so it streamlines everything that they do. And so we have 3 full-time trainers and 5 full-time outreach people who do training all the time on our products and services in MLS. They'll be in the MLS and they'll be at a certain point in the training and say, and we also have this available. So it's my condo floor plans and all of the services that are available there. So it's the products and services, the interaction, the always consistently and constantly improving the MLS and the offerings, and with Liz's help and Deborah Boza-Valador making all of these so much easier to use and interactive. Liz?
Yeah, I think everything that Teresa said is, I just want to agree with it. It's just a total evolution from being a book to a database to an entire service industry to serve the members and make them successful and enable them.
Yeah. And I think that you guys really, I've worked with MLSs for a long time, and you guys take such care into making sure that you don't just provide the products to your members, but like you said, Teresa, like you guys do amazing training. And I think that makes all the difference, really believing in the products and not just like signing an agreement and putting it on a dashboard. Like you guys really take the time to make sure people know how to use it, and also that they interact with one another. So I think that all of you guys have done a great job, and I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting to see all the new products that are continuing to come out. Especially, there's some things where I'm like, wow, agents really used to do that. Like, I don't even have a scanner, and people used to scan stuff to people, and now it's all done within their phone or their computer. So I think that's awesome to hear your perspective. So with that, Liz, what do you think the greatest challenges facing the MLS are in today's climate?
So I think it's still getting all of that data into the MLS. And I think NAR is doing a really great job of helping push that forward. And our members are doing a good job of keeping an eye on the landscape and what is out there. But it's so critical to get all of the listings and data into the MLS to ensure that sellers are getting the best offers available. and making sure they're getting as much exposure as they should be for their properties. The climate is just going to get a little more challenging. We all know that. And more exposure is better for everybody.
Yeah.
We also launched so many new programs and services, and Liz's involvement with the NAR Reach program has helped a lot. But we have often been one of the first points of contact for vendors people who want to launch a new product. With MIAMI, we don't go through the entire committee process and over and over and over again. If we see it, we like it, we think the members will vote with their feet or their fingers and take advantage of it, we have the authorization from the leadership to just go ahead and do it. And so a lot of vendors and service providers are kind of shocked at what it's like to work with us, but works really well. And all of Liz's contacts with Reach and the technology industry have helped a great deal.
That's great. And I think to your point, Liz, like the MLS should be the source of truth for all of that data. And you guys really do provide a lot of products, and it gives incentive to the agents to work within the MLS and work within all the products that they have. So I think that that's great that you guys are doing so much outreach for that within the industry. But as you know, here at RentSpree, the Renew initiative was started to help foster a sense of community for women that work in all areas of our industry. So with that in mind, I just have a couple questions kind of regarding how you guys handle things at MIAMI. And I want to say that one thing that your association is known for is the strong female presence in leadership. And just within your staff in general. So just curious, was that by design?
No. Wasn't by design. It's every time we hire, it's the best person for the job, for the role, and the highest talent that we can get. So, they always say, hire somebody smarter than you. So that's part of my job, is to make sure that everybody that I hire it really is the best that we can possibly get in the industry and represents us and fits into the MIAMI culture, which is also a very big thing in a different way that we kind of, that we work here, and the way that we work with the leaders and represent the members. The fact that most of our executives and so many of our leadership are women is because they're the best. The people that get involved here are just the best, male, female, whatever it happens to be.
I love that. I love hire somebody smarter than you, because it really does make a difference. Especially we all have so many different skill sets that another person might not have. And when you hire the best person for the job, no matter, male, female, whatever the case may be, you're really creating a culture of people who can excel at their jobs. So I think that's great. Liz, can you talk about the value of mentorship for female professionals in real estate?
Sure. Always just having somebody to look up to who has been through pieces before, as women, I don't think it's a secret, we're tasked with more work at home and in the workplace. Mm-hmm. So learning how to maintain that work-life balance and being able to talk to other people who are going through the exact same thing. At NAR, we did a really nice job, before the pandemic, of just being able to have that real safe space conversation about how we were dealing with those types of challenges, how we were able to rise up, how we were able to get through it. My advice is always, we do the best we can with what we have. And is it always perfect, for our families or sometimes at work? You have to work with the tools you have that are available. So we don't all have infinite resources. Sometimes compromises are made, but we've all come out on the other side, and we're all here today doing really, really well.
That's awesome. Yeah. And Teresa, how about from you? Because I know you've hired some pretty strong women, Liz included. So what do you think about the value of mentorship for female professionals as well?
I think that whether you're male or female, the value of mentorship is incredible. And I didn't learn it in enough time to be of a great deal of help to me, but I've never said no to anybody who's asked to be mentored in any way or wants to run an issue, past me to see what suggestions I have for it. And I'm happy to do that anytime. We've had a number of staff here from executives who've gone on to run their own associations. And that's the good news and bad news. I'm happy for them, but I'm sad for us. But we also have a thing, whether it's the leaders or the professionals, I never really let anybody go. So we remain close, we remain connected, and it's a really important thing. But you need actually more than one mentor, because that way you can get two different perspectives on whatever it is that you're thinking about doing. And the other thing is that while I didn't actually have mentors as such, I had a lot of role models for different things. So I would find someone that did something that I really liked, whatever it was, and I would pay attention to that. Not everything that they do, but that. And so there were a lot of different people the whole time in my career that I have learned from, that I have followed, that I have grown because of what I see in them.
That's great. Any particular mentor in mind, or a person that you've looked up to throughout the years that you can think of that just like pops off your head that you think, man, they were doing it right and I followed them?
I'm not going to call anybody out. Liz?
Not going to call anybody out.
I mean, obviously, Teresa has always been an inspiration. Retired now, Carol Van Gorp, always lent a kind ear and good advice. Belton Jennings was always willing to have a heart to heart and tell a good joke and a good story to go with it. Those are the three that have really stepped up for me. I guess it's all Florida, but there we go.
And that's fun because Belton was a longtime friend, and Carol Van Gorp actually started the real estate part, real estate association executive part of her career here at Miami Realtors.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All Florida based. Well, that's great, guys. So the one other question I have for you is, it's crazy, but less than 20% of all senior positions in real estate are held by women. What do you guys see as the biggest reason for that imbalance?
People like to work with people who are like them. And so I think when it comes to technology, women in tech, so technology runs everything today. And technology has always been a male heavy area. Has it gotten better? Absolutely. But that is there's still room, right? There's still room to even the playing field there. I think that, it will continue to evolve and continue to balance out, but I believe it's entirely technology driven. And I say that as a woman who worked in pure technology before real estate and then real estate tech alone. I would be the only woman in the room, the only woman at the lunch table. You just had to get used to it and be okay with it.
So in the Miami Association, again, largest local association in the US, our Miami Association has had a female CEO for 65 years.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's really cool.
And so they really liked their former CEO, and she did a great job. And so I think that they may have been more open to another female CEO. The finalists were both male and female. But I think that sometimes what Liz said, which is so true, is they like to hire people who are like them. They like to be around people who are like them. And for a lot of it, it's still a good old boys club. So we're very excited whenever we see women moving into top leadership positions. We're also very proud, even if we don't know them, to see what a great job they're doing. And so I think the more successful women we see in top leadership positions, elected or paid, I think helps elevate all of us.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's inspiring to see what you guys have done and accomplished in your careers. And coming from me, who is just getting in the industry, I was getting into tech before I got into tech real estate. I was just getting into tech. And like you said, Liz, it was very male dominated. And I got into real estate tech and I found the girl power. And it makes a difference to see, hey, somebody like me, a woman who comes from a tech background getting started, can grow and be one of you guys, be a Liz, be a Teresa, and make a difference. And the more and more that happens, the more girls getting into tech will see, I'm not alone and I can do it. So you guys really have inspired me, and I'm sure many of other people. So yeah, but my last question for you would be, what would be your number one piece of advice for women in order to change this metric for the better moving forward?
So because I keep making Liz go first, I'll go first on this one. So I think the best way to change this is to do what Liz said. You raise your hand, you volunteer, you step up, and you step up whenever there's an opportunity, and you take advantage of that opportunity, and then more opportunities open up. And so I think that all of the tips and suggestions that we've given so far are really, very important to this. I think that that one of the things that works for both of us and really with almost all of the executives and staff here at Miami is we don't like no. And we really love to figure out new ways to do things. If we had to do stuff the same way all the time, we'd kind of, be bored, but that never happens for us. And, whoever it is, whether it's one of our newest employees or one of our most senior executives, people are always coming up with new ideas for things that we can do. And we love that. And so that helps to distinguish us from many of the other associations. And that creates more opportunities for us, which means it creates more opportunities for our members and more opportunities for our market and for our brokers and their companies. And that's really our job. So it all works extremely well. And, the positioning and the global real estate market, I don't know whether you knew, but I just ran through some of the stats for the brokers. We are the number one international real estate market in the world.
That's amazing.
We are number one for international investment in the world. And so we have all of these stats, all of this data. We have 242 global partners around the world. And so those connections, those people, those resources, everything that we can take advantage of, and we built from nothing. We built from an idea that someone had. How would I market my properties internationally? And now, look at us. It's crazy wonderful. And so one of our presidents, a male president who was talking today, said he got involved with leadership in the Miami Association because of my leadership. And so that's the kind of thing that when that people are looking and they're noticing, that helps other people to step up and to grow. And Liz and I have other people that we're watching and learning from, and the things that they do, because we don't know what we're going to be like when we grow up, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think I love that, especially what you said about keeping every day different, or it would get boring. And you guys do so many exciting things over there, whether it's the Rock the Market event, which you guys know I love. I've been to many years, but you keep things fun. And I think it all stems back to what you said earlier on, Teresa, which was communication. I'm sure that communication played a big role in being such an international presence and networking and making those connections. And that's just an amazing stat to hear. And I'm so happy for you guys and proud of you. And aren't you guys opening a new office soon too?
It's actually just diagonally across the street from here, so I can keep my eye on them all the time. What's going on with construction? Yeah, it's going to be 38,000 square feet of finished space on 2 floors, plus 3 floors of parking. It's an entire half a block, and it's absolutely going to be amazing. One of the other things I forgot to mention, though, is we also have one of the largest and most successful commercial associations in the world. And we actually created our own commercial MLS, which is complementary to our existing MLS, and that's extremely successful. We have an award-winning Young Professionals Network, YPN, and I think we may be the only YPN, the only association that has a YPN board as one of our elected boards. And they are one of our 6 elected boards, and they are on exactly the same status as our other leadership boards. And what comes out of the YPNs is just amazing. And you talk about some strong female leadership coming out of there. Some of our strongest presidents ever have come from our YPN leadership.
That's amazing. Yep. I love to hear that. Well, Liz, last from you, any last pieces of advice? Teresa, that was all amazing advice. So anything to add on?
Just step up and offer to help out. And when you do it to the best of your ability and dig in. Don't be afraid to not take on a task because you're not the expert. Just find really great people to work with you and help you and support you. We're all really smart people. We're all capable of doing the research and getting really good at whatever we need to do. Like building a whole global marketplace like we've done here in Miami.
That's
Take
amazing.
a chance.
Yeah, it's like when you watch those competition shows and you have to hit the buzzer first. I always love the people who hit the buzzer and then come up with the answer, just be ready at any given moment to step up. And I love that. And I think that that's such impactful advice just to carry throughout, whatever career you follow throughout your life. Is the more opportunities you put in front of yourself, the more opportunities you have to grow and to learn. So
hey, luck is preparation meeting opportunity. So
I love that.
That's what I'm a Girl Scout. I always like to plug the Girl Scouts, and always prepared. And if you're there when the opportunity happens, all of a sudden those amazing synergies that we see just start to flourish.
That's awesome. I was a Girl Scout too. I remember when my mom was the cookie mom, and she was like, I'm never doing this again because Lauren ate like 500 cookies out of our basement. So I love a fellow Girl Scout. Well, thank you guys so much again for agreeing to be on our very first episode of the Renew podcast. Before we go, 2 things. One, any exciting things coming up with the Miami Association that you guys want to share? Any fun events or exciting news?
Well, we always have fun events and exciting news. And actually, in about 9 days, we're headed to Dubai. And
that's awesome.
Yes, it's our second time working with the International Property Show and Conference, IPS, in Dubai. And last year when we went, we actually announced that Miami was creating the first ever global YPN, and announced that we would be doing our first ever YPN Global Congress in Dubai the next year, which is now. And so we are participating, we are co-hosting. There are a lot of YPNs that are going to be there, and others who aren't YPNs but want to take advantage of it. So we have 3 days of expo and 2 days of conference and trade show and events and everything going on. So that's coming up almost immediately. Miami is the first local association and local market then to be chosen by FIABC to host their prestigious World Congress. And so June 5th through the 9th here in Miami, actually on Miami Beach, Nobu Eden Rock Hotel, we are going to welcome participants from all over the world and all walks of life and real estate. And they'll be coming here for our global, the FIABC World Congress. You mentioned Rock the Market, and so Liz is going to be working very closely with Deborah Boza-Valador and Letty Oliver and I in presenting our amazing Rock the Market. And there are more, but Liz, do you want to mention IOI that we're helping host?
Sure. So NAR is hosting their IOI Summit. I think it'll be the 5th one. And we're so excited. They're having it in Miami at the Fontainebleau. And so that will be, I believe, August 29th. It's a 2-day event, and that is the best of innovation, opportunity, and investment, the best in prop tech coming here to Miami, which is now, the new tech hub. So it is the new Silicon Valley, and we're so excited to have them here and be able to help them work with that. We met with them yesterday, and we kind of said, Reach is going global, right? We've got Reach Australia, Reach UK. They just launched Reach Latin America. We've got Reach Canada. He said, this is the global city. I said, why don't you call this IOI global? Because instead of having it outside, have it here. And I think I kind of blew their minds. So I think that that's what we're going to see from the NAR IOI this year.
We do that a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of mind blowing going on, definitely between you guys, for sure. That's awesome. But before I send you guys off, I have one more pop quiz for you. This one's going to be controversial. So from each of you, Elvis or Michael Jackson?
Elvis.
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 Absolutely Elvis.
I knew it was a good thing we brought the Elvis impersonator to rock the market.
Oh, that's right. It was wonderful. It was a big hit.
He was a huge hit, and he was so great when he was singing to people. I loved it. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been the first episode of the Renew podcast presented by RentSpree. I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation. As a reminder, you can visit our website, rentspree.com/renew, to learn more about how you can join our initiative. And please subscribe to the Renew podcast on whichever pod platform you use. Until next time, thank you guys so much. It has been such a pleasure.
Thanks, Lauren.